Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Mahatma Gandhi Letters. Now we are in the middle of 1896. A modest barrister who came alone was now a leader who was the idol of a vast crowd. By now, Gandhi was not one man. Gandhi was a thought. Gandhi was a movement. But we have forgot something here. It had already been 3 years since Gandhi left his family. Gandhi landed in Durban in April 1893. Immersed in the social miseries of South Africa, he never had a chance to visit his wife and children after that. By this time, Gandhi had to build his life in South Africa. Gandhi had realized the movement was not of few days, which made him think to bring his family to South Africa. Gandhi left for India on June 5, 1896. I will summarize the sequence of events of these remarkable 3 years in the next episode. But before that, I have explained in this episode 2 articles which were recorded before Gandhi left for India. First one is an interview on the eve of departure for India, and the second one is a report published in Natal Advertiser called An Indian Gathering. Let's start the first one. Interview on eve of departure for India, June 4, 1896. On the eve of Gandhiji's departure for India, a reporter of the Natal Advertiser called upon him to ascertain his views on the state of Indian affairs then prevailing in the colony generally. The following report of the interview appeared in the journal. In reply to various questions, Mr. Gandhi said the present membership of the Congress was 300. The annual subscription was £3, payable in advance. The Congress aimed at enrolling members who were not only able to pay their subscriptions, but who would also work for the objects of the Congress. They wanted to collect a large fund which would be invested in property so that a permanent income might be available to carry on the objects of the Congress. What are these objects? Asked the interviewer. They are of a twofold character, political and educational, was the reply. As to the educational part, we want to teach the Indians born in the colony by inducing them with the offer of scholarships to study all subjects pertaining to their welfare as a community, including Indian and colonial history, temperance, etc. Is there any other qualification for membership in the Congress? Question was asked. Yes. One is that members should be able to read, write, and speak English, but this condition has not been strictly enforced of late. Financially, how does the Congress stand? Asks the interviewer. There is a balance in hand of £194, and it possesses besides a property in Umjani Road. I want the members to raise this balance to £1,100 during my absence, and see no reason why it should not be done. This would do much to make it a permanent institution. What is the attitude of the Congress politically? It does not want to exercise any strong political influence, the present object being to ensure that the promises made in the Proclamation of 1858 are fulfilled. When the Indians enjoy the same status in the colony as they do in India, the Congress will have attained its end politically. It has no intention to become a political force to swamp any other party. What is the number of Indian voters in the colony? There are only 251 on the voters' roll, as against 9,309 Europeans. Of the former 143 are in Durban, and the Congress could not put forward more than 200 more in its best efforts. The end of its ambition, as I said, is an equal status with the Europeans, and we don't object to any qualification that may be required. We are even willing that the property qualification should be increased so long as it applies equally. What will your future program be? What it has always been. The Congress will continue to ventilate the grievances of the Indian community by the publication of literature throughout the colony in India and England, and to write to the newspapers on any Indian questions as they come prominently before the public, and to collect funds for its propaganda. Hitherto the Congress has not invited the press to any of its meetings, but it has now been decided to do this occasionally and furnish it with information concerning its efforts. The Congress first wished to be assured of a permanent existence before it invited the press to its meetings. There is one matter I would like to correct. The address presented to me stated that the various objects of the Congress had been fulfilled, That was not so. They were under consideration, and the Congress would continue to work for their attainment by every legitimate means, and it will resist any attempt to introduce colored distinctions in the legislation for the Indian community, for these, if introduced, might be used in other colonies and other parts of the world. Friends, this was the first article of the episode. Let's move on to second article. On June 4, 1896, a day prior to Gandhiji's sailing for India, the Tamil and Gujarati Indians of Durban, along with other communities, met at the Indian Congress Hall for the purpose of recognizing his services as Hond Secretary of the Natal Indian Congress. The attendance was large and much enthusiasm prevailed. The chair was taken by Sri Dada Abdullah, and Sri Lawrence acted as interpreter for the Tamil portion of the audience. The following is a report from the Natal Advertiser. After the presentation of an address, Mr. Gandhi, in acknowledging the kindnesses, said the occasion showed that whatever castes the Indians in Natal represented, they were all in favor of being cemented in closer union. With regard to the objects of the Congress, he did not think any differences existed. Else, they would not have met as they had done to make its secretary a presentation. If this surmise were correct, Lai would repeat the request he made the other evening, urging the attendance of the Madras Indians at the Congress. Up to the present, that attendance had not been satisfactory, but he hoped that henceforth they would rally in greater numbers. He regretted his inability to speak Tamil, but was sure that what he said with reference to Madras Indians keeping aloof would not be construed into any reflection upon them or any other portion of the Indian community. The objects of the Congress they all knew. Those objects were not to be attained by mere talk, and he therefore asked them to show their interest in its common ends by deeds, not words. He would particularly impress upon the audience to send delegates to Maritzburg, Ladysmith, and other centers where Indians of every class resided and who were not yet represented at the Congress, and endeavor to get them to become members. The Natal Advertiser, 1896. So dear friends, this is how Mr. M.K. Gandhi bid a farewell from Indians of South Africa. In next episode, we go through the chronology of Gandhi's life till now. Thank you for listening to Mahatma Gandhi Letters.